Hey, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Craig here. Thanks for joining me on the Facebook page here. I don't do a lot of the Facebook Lives on my private Facebook page, but in this case, we want to let you folks know what's going on. I know I've got about 20,000 of you follower and friends here on Facebook. And yesterday was a really sad day weather-wise here in Michigan. We talked for days that we had the possibility of some strong to severe thunderstorms coming in here. It's my job. It's the job of our staff to let you know about that and try to warn you in advance. And we did have some tornadoes that hit on Friday afternoon, yesterday afternoon, across our southern counties, and it did some significant damage. These were tornadoes that were probably going to be classified as maybe NF2, perhaps even higher, because there's some significant structural damage. So let me show you some things here so you got an idea where I'm coming from and what I'm thinking about here. Let's go down here as we look at I'll switch screens here, and you can see these are some of the severe weather reports that we had yesterday. I know the map says Saturday. That's because it's given us the current day, which is Saturday. But these severe weather reports were from yesterday when we had a Fox 17 weather ready alert day in effect for the possibility of hail, wind, and yes, we mentioned tornadoes. You go back to my Facebook page, you'll see the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center for at least 2 or 3 days in advance. That's why I do this, folks. I know a lot of people probably get tired of seeing those posts, but that's what I do. I'm a meteorologist. You guys follow me, and it's my job to try to let you know and keep you safe. So that's what I do, and I take that very seriously because my job is to keep everybody safe. Unfortunately, we lost some lives yesterday in these tornadoes. Let me tell you what's going on here. This map that you see are the tornadoes that we think occurred. We know we have video evidence of these tornadoes in Three Rivers and in Union City. Here's how this unfolded. National Weather Service down in northwestern Indiana, that's northern Ohio, which governs these counties, and they oversee the counties down here, Berrien Branch, St. Joe, Berrien, Cass, St. Joe Branch, and Hillsdale. They said this was a supercell thunderstorm. That was a huge thunderstorm with a rotating updraft. So it's ingesting all this, warm, humid air. There's shear going on, wind speeds coming in from different directions and different directions and different speeds as you go up. It creates a turning motion. All of that was in place. But anyways, the Weather Service was talking about this supercell thunderstorm that they began to see in northern Indiana. Then this crossed over into the Niles area down there in extreme southeastern Berrien County. And what they said is the velocity data. We've shown this on air many times before. The velocity data that shows us the wind speeds was beginning to tighten up. So that was giving us indication that this could be a tornado and could be on the ground. It looks like it may have been a tornado that did damage and was on the ground down there in Edwardsburg in Cass County. That's southern Cass County. About 3:14, we got a tornado warning down there. Started to hear about damage. There is structural damage down there. We understand there was at least one death down there in that area. And then as we continued, this tornado may or may not have lifted between Edwardsburg and Three Rivers. But we know there's structural damage, significant damage in Three Rivers. We know there's video evidence of a pretty impressive tornado down there in St. Joseph County. That was about a half hour later. The question is, did it stay on the ground the entire time? Well, we don't know that. That's part of what the damage survey is going to do and check out as they do that today and tomorrow. And then from Three Rivers, that supercell thunderstorm went to northwestern Branch County and eventually came down as a tornado in Union City there in Branch County about 4:26. Now again, what we don't know was this one long-lived, long-track tornado that was on the ground in all of these cities and between those cities. There's a lot of rural area down here in Cass County, St. Joe County, Branch County, but that's one of the things the National Weather Service is going to look at when they do their damage surveys. We know there's damage in Union City. We know there's damage in Three Rivers. We know there's damage there in Edwardsburg. They were either 3 separate tornadoes. If this tornado lifted in between those cities, this is going to be classified as three separate tornadoes. If it was in fact one long-lived, long-track supercell storm and that tornado was on the ground the entire time, that will be classified as one tornado. To you and me, it may not make that much difference. To the peoples whose houses are lost, the businesses are lost, it was a tornado. But what they do want to find out is what the EF rating was, because that's how we make things better. That's how we have what we call an enhanced Fujita scale. Ted Fujita, many decades ago, came out with a damage scale for tornadoes. But one of the things that it hasn't taken into account over the years is the building codes have changed. They build differently. They build better. They build stronger. So what they did, I'm talking NOAA, the National Weather Service, and researchers have come out with something called an enhanced Fujita scale. In the old days, we had an F1 tornado, F2, F3, F4, F5. That was the Fujita scale. Now to take in all these new building codes that we have, because they're building better than they ever were before, better, stronger, faster, as the old joke goes from the old $6 Million Man, the Bionic Man, if you remember that, from the 1970s. Better and stronger is the way they're building now. So to accommodate for that, they've come up with an enhanced Fujita scale, which is an EF1, EF2, EF3, EF4, and EF5. So that's why that's changed a little bit. Again, to you and I, it may not make much difference, but it takes that new building code into consideration. So it's tougher to knock things down and knock things over, and they've adjusted the wind speeds. So the reason I tell you that is what the National Weather Service is going to be looking at for their damage survey when they go in. They're looking to see how fast these winds were that destroyed these structures. Now, we know it wasn't an EF0. It probably wasn't an EF1. How do I know that as a meteorologist? Because I can tell you from years of experience, if we have walls, brick walls that were blown out and knocked down, in Menards down there, in Three Rivers, we have a roof that was completely peeled off. We have boats that were overturned, cars that were overturned. And EF1, 100-mile-per-hour winds don't do that. We're probably looking at EF2 and maybe even stronger. I'm just speculating based upon the video and the photos that I've seen, and a lot of that is on my Facebook page here at Kevin Craig Fox 17. You can look back at that. You can also look back at the chronologic order of the way all these storm warnings were fired off yesterday afternoon. That's why I output those to the website, because if you follow me on Facebook and you're out at the store and you get that kind of a warning, you know if it's in your area, you need to take cover. As I said, folks, I do this to protect you folks, and that's why I hope you join my Facebook page and tell your friends, because that is why we do this, to keep you folks safe, so that you don't get caught without knowing that there's a watch, a warning, an advisory, and it's inevitable. Mother Nature throws curves at us. People get hit in houses, they get hit in cars, they weren't expecting it, and they get put in situations where they can die from that. And again, we know we have 4 confirmed deaths from this weather in southern lower Michigan. I hate to hear that as a meteorologist, because I try to keep everybody safe. That's what our team does here. It's not just me, it's all of us TV meteorologists. We're a team. Each person does it a little bit differently, but our goal is the same, to get these warnings out and keep you safe. So it is a sad and a somber day because of that here in West Michigan and southern lower Michigan. But these are the tornadoes, and that's what they're going to be looking at. Let me go back to the graphics here real quick, because I do want to point out a couple of other things. First of all, our threat level is long gone. And what we're going to be doing now, we've already seen some showers and some thunderstorms this morning. Those are out of here. I can't rule out maybe a lingering shower this afternoon, or some drizzle or some mist, but it's going to be a windy, kind of a gloomy day. And you can see these showers and storms are shifting out of here. Future wind speeds I won't show you, because the model for some reason didn't come in all the way. But I will tell you that the wind speeds are going to be up around 15 to 25 miles per hour today out of the south and west. Now it's almost 10:30 here in the morning on Saturday. Look at the temperatures here. These are current temperatures. If you walk outside right now on March 7th, you're going to say, wow, it's really mild out there. That's part of what drove this severe weather that we had. When we get this warm, this early in the season, it's very hard to do that without seeing severe storms, and that's exactly what happened. I'll remind you, either last year, the year before that, we had a tornado in Marshall, Michigan, down to the south and east of Grand Rapids in February And again, when we see this kind of heat this early in the season, it usually will always come with some severe weather. Anyways, these are current temperatures. The reason I show you this is because our warmest temperatures are between now and about maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock, because they're going to tank after that. The cold front has not gone through. Look at the current temperatures across this area. I love this map. If I said, where's the cold front, I'm going to grab a telestrating tool and I'm going to show you right here. The cold front is like right in here. Behind that line, look at the temperatures drop right off in the 20s and 30s. Out ahead of it, we're still in the warm sector of this system. We're in the 60s. That's incredible. So you can imagine when that cold front goes through, the temperatures are going to fall through the afternoon hours, and that's why I say that. This is what it looks like on the weather map. Cold front is going to move on through. We're still going to be left with cloudy, windy conditions. I think we break up the cloud cover, folks, as we get into the overnight hours. Sunday, there's a trough of low pressure to our north. That may put a little bit of cloud cover in here, but I still think we get in on some sunshine, and we'll have temperatures on Sunday in the mid-50s. By the way, don't forget to move clocks forward 1 hour today. We go back to daylight saving time tomorrow, so yes, you will lose 1 hour's sleep. So make sure you change the clocks, otherwise you're not going to be to your church service on time. That would be on Sunday morning. And then as we look at the 7-day planner, look at this, 65 on Monday. Tuesday night, we're going to see some rain moving in here. Wednesday looks like a raw, wet kind of a day. All day right now, maybe a rain there with temperatures around 45 degrees. So that, and then it gets colder after that, and we're gonna be snapped back to more seasonable weather for this time of the year. That is the very latest I have for you folks. Again, the update here, the purpose of the Facebook Live on my page was to let you folks know what happened to our friends and our neighbors and our fellow Michiganders that are down there in the southern counties. They have a massive cleanup to do. There are county emergencies down there in those areas. But what we're looking forward to and forthcoming information will be the National Weather Service out of North Webster, Indiana, that handles those counties, to go down there, do a complete damage survey, and tell us what the EF rating was, and whether these 3 separate tornadoes, or was this one long-lived, long-track single tornado that did all this damage. So there will be more information that will be forthcoming. We'll have that for you through the weekend. There's more information if you go to fox17online.com. I've got stories posted there. Our reporters, our anchors have stories posted there. There's photos, there's videos of all the damage. It's incredible stuff. I can tell you, doing this 25 years in West Michigan, this was one of the most incredible things that I've seen. This reminds me of what came through my neighborhood or close to it just a few years ago. If you remember Alpine Township, Comstock Park, Plainfield Township, went up through that area and tore up a bunch of houses and did a lot of damage there. I know, because I was here at work, I was on air, and I was live. And to try to drive back home through that, I almost didn't get home. We were with power for days on end. This is the kind of situation that we're talking about here. So my heart goes out to those folks down there. We're going to be hearing a lot more about this, and that's probably what's going to dominate a lot of our news coverage here over the next several days going forward. But I'll have more on my Facebook page as information becomes available. As always, I thank you for being on the Kevin Craig Fox 17 Facebook page. Thanks for listening in on the Facebook Live. And we'll have more as info becomes available. Have a very pleasant, peaceful, and safe weekend, everybody. Take care.